What if I told you that the average cruise passenger wastes between $300 and $500 on every cruise? In fact, on my last cruise, I ran into a passenger bragging about how they got into an exclusive shore excursion, not realizing that they overpaid by 50%. These money fails happen on every cruise, and I'm about to show you the 10 biggest ones you need to avoid and how you can keep that money in your pocket. I'm Gary from Optimal Cruising, where you always get fresh cruise advice, money-saving hacks, and secret strategies that most cruisers never hear about. Now let's get started. So my parents recently flew down to Florida to take a cruise out of Miami, and they flew into Fort Lauderdale, and they ended up taking a taxi ride from the airport to the cruise terminal and then back again. And Fort Lauderdale's a bit of a hike to the Miami cruise terminal. So they spent over $150 getting to the terminal and back, where if they would have just booked a transfer directly with the cruise line, they could have got on a bus with other cruisers flying into that airport and gotten transportation to and from the cruise terminal and saved about $100. So before you make your transportation decisions, you want to look at all the options. If you're flying in the day before, like we recommend, check which hotels have a shuttle service. Many hotels, especially in the Florida area, will pick you up from the airport for free and take you to the cruise terminal for free. That's a lot of money in your pocket that you don't have to spend when you're getting to your cruise. Okay, we've all heard the experts. Some will tell you, book during wave season to get the best deal. Others will tell you you'll get a better price the farther in advance you book. And then some will tell you to wait for a big sale like a Black Friday type sale. So when is the right time to book? The truth is, there is no right time to book, but there are a couple things you can do to make sure you get the best deal. For starters, you want to do some price monitoring. You want to check the price on the cruise line's website and on all their third-party websites, because the best deals are not always in the same place. And then you want to check that price over a period of time. Usually a few weeks is enough time to see that price go up and down a little bit, and you'll see the range of where they're selling that ticket for what you want to book, and you can book it when it drops back down to that lowest price you've seen. And then once you've booked that cruise, make sure you continue monitoring the price, especially if a big sale season comes up, like a Black Friday. See if they drop it at all, because if they do, a simple phone call to the cruise line or your travel agent will oftentimes get them to match that lower price, meaning you're saving perhaps hundreds of dollars. Once you've got that cruise price set, please stop spending cash to get cash. Okay, ATM fees are a big pet peeve of mine. In fact, I've been known to be a little neurotic about this. I can go 15-20 minutes out of my way just to hit up an ATM with no fees. And on cruise ships, the fees are outrageous. If you need to get cash on a cruise ship, expect to pay $7, $8, I've even seen as much as $10 a surcharge just to withdraw cash. And if you think you're going to get cash in a casino any cheaper, think again. Sometimes you can get money to play slot machines directly from your shipboard account, and they won't charge you anything. But in other cases, especially sometimes if you're taking cash from your shipboard account to play table games, they'll throw a 5 or 6% charge on that, which means you're basically paying money to get access to your money. Plan ahead and bring enough cash with you so you don't get hit with these unnecessary fees, or at least get cash at a port of call. Walk to an actual bank at a port of call. There will usually be one nearby, and you'll get a lower fee, or perhaps get lucky and find one with no fee. And yeah, it's annoying to pay excess ATM fees, but it's even worse to leave some money on the table. Okay, so when you book your cruise, and in many cases this will be months before you travel, there might have been incentives offered, especially if you booked a cruise on a previous cruise, there's usually going to be some onboard credit that's added to your account, but people tend to forget about these things. In fact, my parents, who went on that last cruise out of Miami, had a $100 onboard credit, but they were so sure they weren't going to waste any money buying extras on the cruise that they completely forgot about it. They had $100 to spend on anything they wanted on board for free, and they let it go to waste. So don't do that. Make sure when you get on that cruise, check your shipboard account, because if you have a credit, it's going to appear there automatically. And if you have it, you might have even forgot about it, or maybe you didn't even realize it was part of the deal when you booked the cruise. Always check that shipboard account, even if you don't intend to spend any money on the cruise ship, because if you have a credit, you're gonna want to use it and get something for free. So what do you think is worse? Having to spend money to get access to your own money, or leaving free money on the table? Comment below, I want to know, because next we're going to get into another area where cruisers do this exact same thing. So we have these friends that we travel with a lot, and the minute they book a cruise, they plan everything out. They don't want to miss out, so they book shore excursions at all the ports of call, and they're ready to go. But the problem comes up that once they get in vacation mode and get on that ship, they start relaxing, and they realize they don't really want to get up the next day at 7 o'clock in the morning just to make that shore excursion. So they skip one here or there, and they're basically throwing that money away. Now, the trick is to think a little bit ahead, because most of these shore excursions can be canceled. Usually 24 hours is enough notice to get your money back. In some cases, 48 hours. You really need to check with who you booked it with, be it the cruise line or a third party. It is true that if you book shore excursions with your cruise line in advance, you'll get a better price than if you wait till you get on the ship. However, with a lot of the privately run shore excursions, that's not the case. Those prices remain low and even sometimes go lower at the last minute as they're trying to get people into these tours. So if there's something you really want to do, definitely book it ahead and get the best deal you can. And keep in mind, if that changes, notify them at least a day or two before and you'll probably get your money back. There's really no reason to spend money on something that you're not going to use. But if you think that's bad, this next mistake could get you hit with a huge, unexpected bill. There are stories all over the internet of cruisers coming home to huge cell phone bills they never expected. And this happens because they didn't put their phone in airplane mode when they were on their cruise. And the reason you want to do this is because if you have a cell phone contract with a company that allows for roaming and you don't turn that feature off, your cell phone's going to be trying constantly to connect to a network. And it might get on a network sometime at sea, sometimes near a port of call, where you're on a roaming network and you're just automatically downloading emails, other things, your phone's interacting with that data network, and you're being charged for it unknowingly. And with this next tip, I'm going to actually put a price tag on some empty space. But first, if I've saved you even a little bit of money with these tips so far, make sure you subscribe to our channel so you get all of our continuing updates. Okay, maybe it's just me, but I always found it odd that every cruise ship has a store that sells luggage. Why would you go on a cruise to buy luggage? Aren't you bringing your luggage on to the cruise? But the problem is that many cruisers pack their bags too full. They don't leave any extra space or room for their souvenirs, duty-free, or anything else they might pick up during the cruise. If this is you, you might want to think about just bringing an extra empty suitcase with you. Cruise lines don't charge anything extra for this. And that way, you don't have to pay cruise ship prices to buy a bag to bring back all your stuff. Because trust me, it'll cost you 2 or 3 times more than what you could get the identical thing on Amazon or at Walmart. Paying double or triple for a suitcase is one thing, but what you don't want to do is overpay for your drinks. One of the biggest financial mistakes I see cruisers make has to do with the drink package, and this can go both ways. If you drink a lot and you don't buy the drink package, you're throwing away money. If you're going to drink 10 drinks a day, you need that drink package. It's going to save you hundreds of dollars. But on the other hand, a lot of people buy this package not thinking about how much they're actually going to drink, and not thinking about whether they're even going to be on the ship during 3 or 4 days when they might be off in ports of call. If you're not using the package on those days, then that is really hurting the value of it. Now, we go in depth into the math on another video, but as a rule of thumb, you need to drink between 6 and 8 alcoholic drinks per day to make a drink package worth it. And you need to consider days when you're not going to be on the ship, when you're going to be on port, that you may even be drinking less. If you're not drinking that amount of alcohol, you're better off buying per drink. You can even find deals. A lot of cruise lines will have happy hours or other specials where you can get drinks at some discount off the menu price. This is going to save you a lot of money, hundreds of dollars, if you're not utilizing it. And if you are going to drink that much or more, you definitely need that package, because if you're paying per drink and drinking 9-10 drinks per day, you're going to overspend. And another thing people get confused about with the drink package or with purchasing drinks is the tipping protocol. We're going to talk about that next. Anytime you purchase a drink, a spa treatment, or something at a specialty restaurant on board a cruise ship, you're going to get a receipt with a tip line on it to fill out, just like you would at home at any restaurant. But the difference is, it's usually going to say additional tip because they've already added an automatic gratuity, usually about 18%, onto the price. So anything you're adding onto that tip line is a tip above and beyond an 18% tip. Now, I'm all for tipping great service. If you receive great service and you want to give them extra money, by all means do so, but understand that it's not required. And in many cases, people double tip because they don't know this. So they see the tip line. They're used to being at a restaurant back home where you add in a 20% tip and they just do that. Well, now you've given the person almost a 40% tip. So be careful and just know what you're doing ahead of time. Now, this last tip is one you'll hope you'll never use, but if you need it, it could save you thousands. I used to skip travel insurance all the time. I'm trying to save money. I'm going on a cruise. I'm not buying those extras. I know I'm going to make the cruise. It's not going to be a problem. But then once I was on a cruise and somebody had to be medevaced off that cruise to a hospital by a helicopter, and it started to dawn on me, travel insurance isn't just for the events that might happen in your life that cause you to miss a cruise so that you get reimbursed. But it also can save you thousands of dollars if something happens to you on that cruise and you need to get to a hospital. Because those rides are not free and insurance will not cover it. You're going to be hit with a bill for $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 in some cases. So travel insurance covers all of those events. So you definitely want to think about this. For maybe $100, you can purchase a policy that will last you for a 7, 10, even 14-day cruise and cover more than you think. It's definitely worth a look. And we have a link below if you want to check it out and get some quotes just to see what we're talking about. Now that you won't be making these money mistakes, there are 5 big ripoffs that the cruise lines will never tell you, but I will right here.